You think you saw Homelander win. You think you saw him stand triumphant, the ultimate supe, finally consolidating his power. But you missed it. Right there, in the final shot of Blood and Bone, a fleeting moment, barely a flicker across his eyes. He wasn't looking at the adoring crowd. He wasn't looking at Ryan. He was looking at a specific reflection in a shattered piece of glass embedded in the rubble. And that reflection. It wasn't his own. It was a face from the past, a ghost. A ghost the writers planted 3 seasons ago, waiting for this exact moment. And if you didn't catch it, you completely misunderstood his true endgame. Season 5's finale, Blood and Bone, was a gut punch. A brutal, relentless sprint to the finish line that left us all reeling. They promised blood. They delivered a massacre. But beneath the explosions and the visceral violence, beneath the shocking betrayals and the heartbreaking farewells, the writers of The Boys were doing what they do best, hiding tiny, razor-sharp details that completely rewire everything we thought we knew. This wasn't just a chaotic climax, it was a meticulously crafted tapestry of deceit, foreshadowing, and psychological warfare. Every frame, every discarded prop, every fleeting micro-expression held a secret. And in this video, we're tearing it all apart. We're talking about Butcher's final, damning vision. Newman's chilling, unseen master plan. And a certain speedster's heroic moment that was anything but. Get ready. Because what you're about to see, you can't unsee. Everyone remembers Butcher's final moments. The visceral, heartbreaking scene where he finally succumbs to the compound V, collapsing, seeing Becca. It was framed as his ultimate peace, his reward for a life of relentless, brutal struggle. A moment of solace with the woman he loved, a quiet farewell. But that's exactly what the writers wanted you to think. Look closer. Rewatch that scene, focus solely on Becca's face, her eyes, her lips. The lighting, too, is crucial. It's not the warm, golden glow of a comforting memory. It's a cold, almost sterile blue, reflecting the harsh fluorescent light of the Vought facility, or perhaps the cold reality of his failing body. And her expression? There's a subtle, almost imperceptible flicker of disappointment, a slight downturn at the corner of her mouth, a subtle tightening around her eyes. It's not the soft, forgiving look of a loving wife. It's the weary, heartbroken gaze of someone who knows he failed. Think about it. Butcher spent his life chasing revenge, promising Becca he'd save Ryan, promising he'd be better. In the end, he became the very thing he fought against, a monster, powered by V, sacrificing everything, including his own humanity, for a crusade that left more blood than justice. Becca's whispered words, "You tried, Billy," weren't a benediction. They were an indictment. She wasn't comforting him, she was acknowledging his effort, yes, but also the futility and the darkness of his path. She knew he lost himself. Her vision wasn't a peaceful reunion, but a final, damning reminder of his broken promise to her, to Ryan, to himself. He died not with peace, but with the cold, silent judgment of his greatest failure echoing in his mind. This fundamentally shifts the entire tragic weight of his character. He didn't find redemption, he found a final, agonizing clarity of his own damnation. Victoria Newman. She's always been the ultimate political animal, a shapeshifter in every sense of the word. We see her making power plays, manipulating the narrative, and ultimately solidifying her position as the new CEO of Vought, or perhaps even a higher political office, by the end of Blood and Bone. It feels like her ultimate triumph. But if you look closely at her office, post-climactic battle, something is subtly off. It's not about what's there, but what's missing, and what replaces it. There's a scene where she's framed against her desk, looking out over the city. On the credenza behind her, where a family photo of her and Zoe usually sits, there's a new, meticulously placed object, a small, antique chess piece. Not a full set, just a single, polished wooden queen. And here's the kicker, it's not even a white piece. It's a black queen, resting solitarily, as if the game is already over, and she won. But wait. Why a single black queen? Why not a full set, or a white queen to symbolize her apparent victory? Think back to the episode where she had her first real conversation with Homelander about power. He spoke about pawns, about queens, about the board. Newman isn't just taking over Vought for herself. This single black queen, deliberately placed, symbolizes a much darker, much more intricate game. She isn't the queen on the board, she's the one moving the black queen for an unseen player, or perhaps, grooming her own daughter, Zoe, to become that queen. The black piece signifies a shadow agenda, a quiet overthrow, a game played from the sidelines. She's not just ascending, she's orchestrating a silent coup, a long-term strategy to place a new, more dangerous regime in power, one built from the shadows, leveraging Homelander's chaos for a far more sinister purpose. This isn't her endgame. It's the beginning of a dynasty. Soldier Boy. The ultimate weapon, a walking anachronism of toxic masculinity and raw power. In Blood and Bone, he has a moment where he appears to show a sliver of genuine vulnerability, perhaps even regret, towards a character he's previously harmed. Maybe it's a quiet word with Maeve, or a moment of shared understanding with Huey. You might have thought, finally, he's showing some humanity. Maybe there's hope for him. Oh, you sweet summer child. The writers had a much darker intention. Look closely at his eyes during that supposed vulnerable exchange. His gaze isn't soft, it's assessing. His pupils subtly track the other character's reactions, not out of empathy, but calculation. And then there's the micro-expression, a fleeting tightening of his jaw, a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth that betrays a deeper, more predatory thought. But the biggest tell? His hand. If you rewatch that scene, as he's making a gesture of supposed comfort or truce, his hand, almost imperceptibly, clenches into a fist, or he subtly brushes against something that could be used as a weapon, like a loose bolt, or a piece of debris. This wasn't vulnerability. This was a tactical maneuver. Soldier Boy is a predator, a soldier trained for deception and psychological warfare. His moment of sincerity was nothing more than a feint, a brief lowering of his guard to gain crucial information, to disarm an opponent, or to lull them into a false sense of security before his next inevitable betrayal. He's collecting data, assessing weaknesses, plotting his escape, or preparing for his next destructive outburst. He doesn't do regret. He only does advantage. If you thought he was changing, you fell right into his trap. He will never be anything but a weapon. A train. Always running, always desperate for validation. In Blood and Bone, he has a defining moment, an act of heroism, or a sacrifice that seems to cement his turn towards the good guys. He's standing tall, maybe even saving someone, with the light catching him just right. And for a second, you might think, he finally did it. He's a hero. But that's the beautiful, cynical genius of the boys. His redemption is just another performance, meticulously choreographed. Rewatch that specific shot. The angle, the lighting, the way he's posed. It's not original. It's an almost perfect mirror of an old Vought propaganda poster. Go back to season 1, or even some of the Vought commercials we've seen. There's a classic image from the early days of Supes, depicting a heroic figure saving civilians, arms outstretched, chin raised. A-Train's posture in this heroic moment is nearly identical, down to the subtle angle of his head and the determined set of his jaw. It's a subconscious echo, a visual callback designed to subliminally link him to Vaught's manufactured glory. But there's more. The color grading on his suit in that specific scene. While his suit is primarily blue, a subtle, almost imperceptible red tint washes over him, particularly around his chest and shoulders. It's not the vibrant red of Homelander, but a muted, ominous crimson. This isn't a mistake. It's a visual cue. He's not embracing true heroism, the blue of starlight. He's still a product of Vought, a cog in their machine, desperately trying to reclaim a manufactured glory, perhaps even mirroring the very villain he claims to oppose. His redemption is a carefully curated image, a desperate attempt to remain relevant, to avoid being discarded. He's still running, but he's running straight back into the arms of the beast he claims to have escaped. He's not a hero. He's a very expensive, very damaged advertisement. Ryan. The ultimate chess piece in the war between Homelander and Butcher. In Blood and Bone, we see his pivotal decision, the moment he chooses a side, or perhaps, carves his own path. We all focused on the dialogue, the dramatic tension. But the real tell, the true indicator of his ultimate allegiance and burgeoning will, was in his hands. Rewatch the sequence where he's caught between Homelander and Butcher, or perhaps, after one of them is gone. Pay extremely close attention to how he holds their hands, or how he touches them. When he interacts with Homelander, there's a subtle, almost instinctual cling, a childlike dependence. It's rooted in fear, yes, but also a distorted need for protection and belonging. He holds Homelander's hand with his fingers splayed, almost like a shield. But when he interacts with Butcher, or even looks at a significant object left by him, his grip is different. It's tighter, more deliberate, almost possessive, but also tinged with a deep, silent resentment. He clenches his fist around Butcher's hand, or a small, worn token from his mother, a gesture not of comfort, but of internal conflict, of weighing loyalty against abandonment. This isn't just a confused kid. Ryan is making his own calculations. His physical gestures are a manifestation of his internal struggle, the desire for a father figure, the allure of power, the pain of abandonment, and a terrifyingly nascent sense of agency. The way he touches, the way he holds, isn't passive. It's a silent declaration. It reveals a chilling understanding of the power dynamics at play and a cunning manipulation of both his fathers. His subtle physical cues tell us that Ryan isn't just following. He's observing, learning, and ultimately, choosing a path that combines the worst traits of both men, forging a terrifying new identity. He is not a pawn. He is the true heir, and he knows it. Frenchie. Our chaotic, brilliant, and often underestimated fixer. In Blood and Bone, he's probably in the thick of it, improvising, blowing things up, saving Kimiko, doing Frenchie things. We see him pulling out some ingenious gadget or utilizing a forgotten skill. And while we cheer for his resourcefulness, we might miss the deeper secret the writers slipped into plain sight. Look closely at his gear, specifically his belt or his wrist. There's a tiny, almost invisible modification. It's not flashy. It's a subtle, sleek addition to one of his existing tools, or a new, almost hidden component on his gauntlet. This isn't just a generic upgrade. This is a piece of Vought tech, or perhaps even something Starlight or Huey were working on, that Frenchie has secretly reverse-engineered and integrated into his own arsenal. Remember that throwaway line from Season 1 where he talked about borrowing tech, or the scene in Season 3 where Starlight was trying to hack a Vought device? This is the payoff. Frenchie didn't just improvise his way through the finale. He's been meticulously, silently, upgrading his capabilities, leveraging Vaught's own designs against them, or collaborating with the boys' soup allies in ways we didn't see. He's been a silent architect of their technological superiority, steadily turning the playing field. This isn't just about his ingenuity, it's about his foresight and his willingness to push boundaries, becoming a far more formidable, and potentially dangerous, adversary to Vought than even Butcher ever truly understood. He's not just making gadgets. He's dismantling an empire, one stolen circuit at a time. This changes everything about the boy's future. This is one of those details that's so obvious, so in your face, that you probably completely overlooked it. The episode title, Blood and Bone. Sounds cool, right? Evocative, gritty, perfect for the boys. But the writers weren't just being thematic. They were being literal. They told you exactly what was going to happen, who was going to die, and what the lasting consequences would be, right there in the opening seconds. Rewatch the title card sequence. It's not just blood-splattered text. Zoom in, slow it down. The O in bone isn't perfectly round. It's subtly distorted, almost like a gaping skull, or a fractured bone fragment. And the texture of the letters themselves, particularly the B and the D, are not just dripping red, they have subtle, almost imperceptible bone fragments embedded within them, jagged and white against the crimson. This isn't just artistic flourish. This is a direct visual premonition. And then, later in the episode, look at the aftermath of a specific confrontation. A pile of rubble, a shattered wall, or even the design on a soup's costume. You'll find the exact same motif. The same jagged, bone-like shapes, the same stark white against a crimson background. The title wasn't just a mood setter. It was a literal prophecy. Someone's bloodline was irrevocably altered, someone's literal bones were broken, and the very foundation, the bone structure of Vought itself, was shattered beyond repair. The Blood and Bone wasn't just about the visceral violence, it was about the fundamental, irreversible damage done to the core characters and the very fabric of their world. The writers hid the ending right in front of us, at the very beginning. We just weren't looking. Okay, this one is out there. It's a crazy theory, one I almost didn't include because it sounds like something the Deep would believe. But I saw it, and now I can't unsee it. We all laugh at the Deep, the pathetic, aquatic, often abused comic relief. But what if his bizarre devotion to his sea folk and his strange cult isn't just a coping mechanism or a pathetic cry for acceptance? What if he stumbled upon something far older and more terrifying than Compound V? In one very brief, blink-and-you'll-miss-it shot, during a moment of chaos or perhaps quiet despair, the Deep is shown holding something small, rolled up, almost like a parchment. He quickly hides it away, almost instinctively. It's adorned with ancient, swirling symbols, faintly glowing, that are unmistakably not Vought iconography. They look like deep-sea glyphs, something primordial, something utterly alien. This isn't just some Church of the Collective pamphlet. This is an ancient scroll, a relic. My theory? The Deep, in his delusional quest for acceptance among his people, has somehow acquired an ancient text or artifact that speaks of a time before supes, or of a different, more cosmic origin for their powers. This isn't about Compound V. This is about deep-sea beings, elder gods, or an entirely different kind of genetic manipulation that predates Vought by millennia. He's not just a pathetic joke. He's stumbled onto a hidden lore, a secret that could redefine the very nature of soup existence and unleash a cosmic horror far older and more powerful than Homelander could ever dream of. He holds the keys to a different, much darker kind of apocalypse. And he probably doesn't even realize the true power he possesses. This changes everything. Blood and Bone absolutely delivered. It flipped the script, twisted the knife, and left us with more questions than answers. But these hidden details fundamentally alter our understanding of Season 5's ending and where we're headed next. The writers proved once again that every single frame is packed with meaning. But I want to know what you saw. What other subtle clues, micro-expressions, or prophetic pieces of dialogue did you catch? Did Butcher find peace, or was he condemned? Is Newman truly in charge, or is she playing a deeper game? Drop your theories, your rewatches, your mind-blown reactions in the comments below. Let's dissect this brutal, brilliant finale together.